Morning. It's so automatic to say good morning. I was just talking with Chris Monet yesterday about the usage of the words that we speak and how they help to hypnotize us, to put us in a spell. And, not even thinking about it, but when the sun rises, we cast people immediately into mourning. Yes, the U is missing, but the frequency and the sound is still the same. It's interesting, trying to unindoctrinate ourselves, to borrow a phrase from Jeff Darty. We're just, the English language is a language that, we learn to spell. And words have power and words create. So anyway, good sunrise. How's that? I want to give it a few minutes to see who comes into the chat room. One of my favorite readings is from the Four Agreements, and I found my Four Agreements little book. So I wanted to share that with everyone today. Not all of them. Good sunrise, Denise. Wonderful to see you here. And, every time I do it, I light a stick of incense of my Morning Star sandalwood. This incense doesn't have wood in it, even though it's called sandalwood. Play on words. But it doesn't have the wood. It's strictly the fragrance pressed. Casey, peace and welcome. I'm just going to light a stick, put it over here to the side. The sense of smell, fragrance is a memory. Your memory is very much connected with your sense of smell. So it's always wonderful to have something nice smelling in the background, help to embed those memories. Just had a weird little glitch in my webcam. Not sure what that's about, but I am not a shape-shifting reptilian. Anyway, so let's go ahead and invite the chimes. Take a moment. Let me get let's see, testing. I forgot my headset. That might make it a little bit easier. I had to move back to my laptop because for whatever reason, my Chromebook stopped recognizing my microphone. So let's take a moment to enter into this space. Okay. Welcome, April. Welcome, Denise and Cassie. Okay. So as we do every time we meet together, we remember a different aspect of the sacred divine feminine. And as we're bringing in that feminine energy, we turn to the attributes of the Mother Goddess that our various ancestors throughout time recognized her in various forms. So we turn to the Goddess Oracle by Amy Sophia Marashinsky and illustrated by the illustrious Harana Janto. So very beautiful cards. And as usual, I shuffle the deck and see what attribute of the divine feminine speaks to us today. Okay, well, we already had her, so I'm gonna pick another one. Okay, here's Artemis, sisterhood. Artemis. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. That's selfhood. Artemis, selfhood. See what happens when I don't wear my glasses? I apologize for my vanity and immature ego that refuses to wear my glasses when I need to read. Artemis, selfhood. I am who I am, and I know who I am. I can take care of myself under all circumstances, and I can let others care for me. I can choose. There is no authority higher than my own. My powers of discernment are finely honed. I am autonomous. I am free from the influence of others' opinions. I am able to separate that which needs separation, so a clear decision can be reached. I think for myself. I set my sights and I aim my bow, my arrow always find their marks, their mark. What I thought was really interesting is the second sentence, the third sentence down, and the fourth. It says, I can take care of myself under all circumstances, and I can let others care for me. Blessed sunrise, Gary. See? You know, it's just interesting reading this about the fact that Artemis represents self-sufficiency, self-reliancy, but at the same time, strong enough and self-determined enough to also allow others to take care of her. Isn't that interesting? How many times in this lifetime, I can only speak for a woman because I'm a woman. I can't speak for men because I don't know what it's like to be a man, or even if I was a male in another life form previously, I don't remember. But there's a lot of strong, powerful women that are determined women and, you know, won't accept help, are too prideful, full of pride, and won't accept help. And here's Artemis saying that even though she can totally take care of herself, but she knows when, and she can allow other people's to care for her when the time is needed. Welcome, Chris. So there's a lesson right there, and that is a very pertinent lesson. So Artemis is another multidimensional goddess, reduced by the Greeks to the domain of moon, virgin, huntress, and childbirth. Really represented the feminine in all her aspects. She was the huntress who protected animals, and the virgin, which means she was whole and complete unto herself, who made love in the woods. When Artemis was a little girl, Zeus, her father, wanted to give her a gift and asked her what she wanted. Artemis replied, I want to run forever wild and free with my hounds in the woods and never ever marry. Artemis has shot her arrow of selfhood into your life to help you focus on yourself. Have you been too much at the service of others without making sure you get what you need for yourself? Has it been too long since you had the time to yourself or space of your own? Do the boundaries of your selfhood seem blurred and indistinct? Do you feel you have no right to a self of your own, but must always be thinking of others, putting their needs first? Until you don't know what you are or what you want, now is the time to come into yourself. Now is the time to pay attention to the whispering voices of your own needs. Now is the time to take yourself back and celebrate and strengthen who you are. Artemis says that wholeness is nurtured when you honor, respect, and give time to yourself. She also asks, how can you expect to hit any targets if you don't have a self from which to shoot? So yes, this is Artemis, and that is such a great message. You know, a lot of women, especially those that have children, you know, we're so used to giving, 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 giving to other family members, giving to our friends, most importantly, giving to our children. I have a lot of clients like that. And as I speak from experience, you know, I encourage women, especially new mothers, ones that are on the verge of giving birth and ones that have wee little ones. I implore them, please make sure to continue taking time for yourself and doing what you need for yourself, you know, to bring out your joy and happiness, because you can't put all of your love and care and attention into your children to the point that you totally neglect yourself and it's almost like you're invisible. Because in a healthy situation, children will grow up and they will go off and lead their own self-determined lives and leave you behind. They'll come and visit every now and then, but they're not going to need you the way that they do when they're younger. And what happens with women when their children grow up and go off, they're like lost. They don't know what to do. And some of them become very controlling, you know, very meddling and controlling in their children's lives. And others may become sort of depressed and despondent. So I encourage all my sisters out there who have young children, and even those who have grandchildren, make sure your life is dedicated to you. You first. Like when you're on the airplane and the stewardess, wait a minute, is that like not PC? Let's see. When the flight attendant, hopefully that's PC. When the flight attendant, you know, does the demonstration in front of the plane and the air mask comes down, put it over your face first and then turn to your child, because if your oxygen is cut off and you're passed out, your child's gonna the same. And it's the same in everyday life. When you don't take time to nurture yourself and take care of yourself, you know, either you're smothering your child, or that child, especially if it's a girl, is going to grow up and repeat the same self-abuse. Okay, I'm sorry. I kind of got off into a tangent. Oh, help me. Sorry about that. I forgot where I was for a moment. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to be talking at you. Ah, okay, so I want to read. This is a cute little book. This is one of those little bathroom books. It used to have a nice cover on it, but I was like, I'm getting rid of this cover. It keeps falling off. This is a extremely condensed version of the big book. This is a wonderful book. I recommend everybody get a copy of this book. And this is a book that you're going to want to, you know, read and reread and meditate on it as the Four Agreements. It probably should be required reading in middle school by Don Miguel Ruiz. So I'll give you a quick rundown of the Four Agreements. I did it on a separate video once, but hey, every day is a new day. The Four Agreements: be impeccable with your word. That's the first agreement. Speak with integrity. Say only what you mean. Avoid using the word to speak against yourself or to gossip about others. Use the power of your word in the direction of truth and love. Don't take anything personally. Nothing others do is because of you. What others say and do is the projection of their own reality, their own dream. When you are immune to the opinions and actions of others, you won't be the victim of needless suffering. Don't make assumptions. Find the courage to ask questions and to express what you really want. Communicate with others as clearly as you can avoid misunderstandings, sadness, and drama. With just this one agreement, you can completely transform your life. Always do your best. Your best is going to change from moment to moment. It will be different when you are healthy as opposed to sick. Under any circumstance, simply do your best, and you will avoid self-judgment, self-abuse, and regret. That very first agreement: be impeccable with your word. And it discusses about avoid using the word to speak against yourself. How often do we do that in a day? When we say, oh, I'm so stupid, I forgot my keys and locked them in the car. It's like you just cast a spell on yourself. You just told yourself that you were stupid, and that went right into your subconscious. And, at the same time that you are attempting to manifest all the good and wonderful things that you want in your world, but earlier that day you said you were stupid. Or when you say, oh, I have such bad luck, or I never win anything, or everything that can go wrong will go wrong. So that's just a reminder to ourselves that we really have to be very diligent about what we allow to come out of our mouths. Because, as you speak, so you are. As you think, so you are. And this one: don't take anything personally. Nothing others do is because of you. What others say and do is a projection of their own reality. That's also, that's one that, is near to me, and I really have to work on a lot, because, it's like when you accept certain people into your inner circle, or whether you're born, into others' inner circle, sometimes we might have family that may have negative things to say about us, never a good word, always something that is designed to put us down. Or say you have a friend, someone that you consider to be a friend and you care about that person, and you don't really hear anything complimentary or good for that person, but that person decides that they want to tell you something really negative that they don't like about you. It's very easy to feel distraught or hurt by that, but you have to realize that, and I have to realize that, when a person feels it's their right to say something rude or nasty to you, and so they feel better because they said something rude and nasty to you, and it's okay. That's them. It's not you, it's not a reflection on you. And you can make the choice to have that person in your life or not, or just to completely ignore that person, because realize that if a person has such negativity to say about another person and someone who's a friend, just imagine what sort of negativity they must have for themselves that they're covering up for. And this is a book that I turn to time and time again to remind myself of the 4 agreements. So anyway, let me just quick check the chat room. I have a client first thing this morning, so I will have to get going soon. Let's see. Good morning, Davy. Yeah. Constructive criticism is something totally different than just saying something rude and obnoxious to someone, you know. Oh, the name of the book, the full-size version, it's the 4 Agreements, a Toltec, a practical guide to personal freedom, the 4 agreements. And with this bigger book, it goes much more into detail, talks about the domestication of society, you know, and how we make agreements with our family members, with society, that we should act a certain way and be a certain way and fall into line. And it each chapter, like for instance, the first chapter is on domestication and the dream of the planet. Let me turn to, okay. The first chapter is domestication and the dream of the planet, and basically how each of us has our own dream, but then there's sort of like this, you know, the overall identity and ideal of society. Like for instance, you know, in in America, we have different regions of the country. Like out in LA, it's a completely different scenario. You know, maybe a lot of people get plastic surgery, do a lot of things because of the fear of aging. Maybe in certain other parts of the country, people tend to put on weight a lot more and say, well, oh, this is just part of aging. You know, the different agreements that we make in society, which are completely different from our own innate wildness that we're born into. And it's sort of a book on helping us to undomesticate ourselves. So then the next 4 chapters are about the 4 different agreements that we can use to disconnect ourselves from falling into that greater dream of society. And the sixth chapter is the Toltec Path to Freedom, breaking old agreements. And then the 7th chapter is the new dream, which is heaven on earth. And then on page 143, let's see, let me get to that page. 143, he lists different prayers. It says, today, Creator of the universe, help me to keep the love and the peace in my heart and to make that love a new way of life, that I may live in love the rest of my life. And there's a prayer for freedom. Hold on one second. Okay. There's a prayer for freedom and a prayer for love. And you know, you can call it meditation, you can call it prayer, call it, you know, talking to your higher self. For instance, let's see. I will read to you the prayer for freedom that Don Miguel Luis has in here. Prayer for freedom. Today, Creator of the universe, we ask that you come to us and share with us a strong communion of love. We know that your real name is love, that to have a communion with you means to share the same vibration, the same frequency that you are. Because you are the only thing that exists in the universe. Today, help us to be like you are, to love life, to be life, to be love. Help us to love the way you love, with no conditions, no expectations, no obligations, without judgment. Help us to love and accept ourselves without judgment. Because when we judge ourselves, we find ourselves guilty and we need to be punished. Love everything you create unconditionally, especially other human beings, especially those who live around us, all our relatives, and people whom we try so hard to love. Because when we reject them, we reject ourselves. And when we reject ourselves, we reject you. Help us to love others just the way they are, with no conditions. Help us to accept them the way they are, without judgment. Because if we judge them, we find them guilty, we blame them, and we have the need to punish them. Today, clean our hearts of any emotional poison that we have, free our minds from any judgment so that we can live in complete peace and complete love. Today is a very special day. Today, we open our hearts to love again so that we can tell each other, I love you, without any fear, and really mean it. Today, we offer ourselves to you. Come to us, use our voices, use our eyes, use our hands, use our hearts to share ourselves in a communion of love with everyone. Today, Creator, help us to be just like you are. Thank you for everything that we receive this day, especially for the freedom to be who we really are. So now we can focus on the finger pointing to the moon, or we can look to the moon and see what lessons that there is to, is to learn. This is not about putting your power on some deity outside of yourself when you make a prayer. When I make a prayer, to me, it's me talking to divinity that's within me. It's me talking to that part of me that I know has the answers, that I know has the discipline, has the self-respect, has everything that some days I'm able to really represent it and be it. And then there's some days I struggle. But I know even when I struggle and even when I sin, miss the mark, miss my goal, I know that there's that part of me that is like, you know what? It's okay. We can do this again. I can help you do this again. Let's stay focused. Let's go within. So that wasn't to some far off God somewhere, it's to life. And that life exists right inside of every single one of us. Okay. So anyway, I'm going to have to get going because I have a client that I have to tend to. I thank all of you for being here. And I'm not sure if I showed this piece of artwork. Unfortunately, the beautiful colors are not really showing up. There we go. That's a little bit better. You can see it's like various shades of blues and purples. And this is copper metal leafing. And as I mentioned before, all of my paintings are available for adoption. If you're interested in any one of them, just hit me up. Let me know. You can contact me through my Facebook page. When you do a search on Facebook, search Tamu and Ngina Holistic Artist, and that's my Facebook page. You can contact me there. And I'm also available for private sessions, for readings, and that's it. So thank you, everyone in the chat room, looking at my cell phone. Thank you for being here. I wish you a marvelous day. And as Davy says, every way, in every way, you guys and me make me better and better. And Denise says, me too, Davy. So you guys have an awesome day, and I will see you later this evening. I don't know if I'll be able to do a video again today before the evening, but definitely join us this evening. I think like 8 o'clock for another installment of the Tao Te Ching reading. And peace. Peace and great bliss. Love you bunches, Gary. Peace. Thank you so much for being here. Sarah. Thank you, Deborah. Let's see. Okay. All right. Got to skedaddle.